Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Alej and this is Brief History of Spain. In this series I will be explaining the whole history of Spain in short videos. And today we're going to have a look at the Catholic kings' reign. By the end of the 15th century, Spain will transition from the Middle Ages to the modern era, during the reign of the Catholic kings, Isabel of Castilla and Fernando of Aragon, who married in the year 1469. Through their marriage, they set a common policy and strategy to the two main kingdoms of Spain at the time, Castilla and Aragon, although they remained as separate political entities. They set to conquer the last Muslim kingdom of Spain, Granada, city that finally fell in January of the year 1492, thus finishing the Reconquista almost 800 years after its beginning. Although the Catholic kings wanted to convert Muslims into Christianity, they were for the most part respected, since most of them were poor farm workers of the Granada countryside. The Catholic kings asked the Pope to create the Spanish Inquisition, which was created in the year 1466 with the primary objective of dealing with the Jewish that had falsely converted to Christianism to avoid persecution. There had been Jewish in Spain since the Roman times, and they had been more or less tolerated during most part of the Middle Ages, but by the end of the 14th century there were very heavy pogroms against them throughout Europe, including Spain, with violent mobs going to the Jewish neighborhoods called juderias and killing some and forcing others to convert, especially in the year 1391 in the main juderias of Spain, such as the one in Sevilla and Barcelona. The kings tried to protect them against the mobs, as some of them were important political figures and moneylenders to the monarchs. Jewish were seen with suspicion by a significant part of the Christian society, as their wealth and political influence grew. There were also many conspiracy theories that accused Jewish of infiltrating Christian society to destroy it from within, and also accused them of the Black Death. Many other countries of Europe had expelled them from their territories during the Middle Ages. Finally, the Catholic kings decided to expel the Jewish from Spain in the year 1492 unless they converted into Christianity. Their motives being they wanted to create a religiously homogeneous country, and also they believed they were a bad influence on other Jews that had converted. Approximately 100,000 Jewish left Spain and went mainly to Muslim countries from the north of Africa or the Turkish Ottoman Empire. The Jewish that had converted were closely watched by the Inquisition to make sure their conversion was real. Despite all the bad press it gets, the Inquisition was not the fanatic and sanguinary institution that is often portrayed in the media. Only around 2% of the people that were judged by it ended up in death sentence, although arguably a horrible one, being burned at the stake. And the amount of people executed for religious reasons in Spain is really low compared to other places of Europe at that time. It is estimated around 4,000 people were sentenced to death by the Spanish Inquisition over its 300 years of existence. To put things into perspective, the witch hunts of the 16th and 17th century took only in Germany around 25,000 lives.
Isabel and Fernando wanted to create a modern state by taking away power from the nobility and strengthening royal power, which they did by creating a permanent royal army for the War of Granada. This army was restructured by talented General Gonzalo Fernández de Córdoba, that conquered the Kingdom of Naples for Aragon and set the base for the famous Spanish tercios by making the infantry the base of the army, increasing dramatically the amount of firepower, and creating a strict discipline and chain of command that made their army much more efficient and maneuverable in the battlefield. After the conquest of Granada, the Catholic kings funded Christopher Columbus's trip to discover the Americas. Christopher Columbus was an Italian sailor that lived in Portugal. He had the theory that he could reach India by traveling west and circumnavigating the earth. India had very lucrative products such as the spices, and since the land route was blocked by the Ottomans, they were trying to find an alternate route to India. He proposed his plan to the King of Portugal, but he refused since Portugal was already exploring a route to India bordering Africa, which they finally achieved in the year 1498 with Vasco da Gama's voyage. Columbus left Spain with 3 ships and arrived into the Bahamas the 12th October of 1492. Although he believed to have arrived to India, in the following years, people started to realize this was a new continent and not part of Asia. During these first years of colonization, the main objective was to find a way to cross to the other sea in order to arrive to India, which was finally achieved in 1513 when Spanish explorer Vasco Núñez de Balboa crossed Panama and arrived into the Pacific Ocean, which was called the Southern Sea. Along with the Spanish, many unknown diseases were spread into the Americas, causing a great mortality. Queen Isabel declared these new lands as part of Castilla and commanded that the natives would be well treated and converted into Christianity, as they were now subjects to the Kingdom of Castilla. Mestizaje, which means mixing the two races, was encouraged by giving only lands to those Spanish who were married. To avoid problems with the Portuguese expansion and exploration, the Catholic kings and the King of Portugal signed the Treaty of Tordesillas, in which they draw an imaginary line through the Atlantic Ocean that would divide the areas of influence and exploration between Spain and Portugal. Spain would go to the left of the line, mainly America, and Portugal would go to the right, mainly Asia. This treaty was supervised and supported by the Spanish Pope Alexander VI. Also, this treaty later allowed Portugal to claim Brazil for themselves. The Catholic kings married their sons and daughters to foreign kings and princes with two very specific goals in mind: uniting Portugal to their monarchy and isolating France, which they saw as their main enemy, especially for Aragon's interests. The marriage of their daughter Juana to Emperor Maximilian's son, Philip the Fair, meant the arrival of the Habsburg dynasty to the throne of Spain, since Juana ended up being the heir due to the death of her older brother and sister. Finally, in the year 1512, Navarra, that was under French rule, was conquered by King Fernando and united to the Kingdom of Castilla, thus leaving only Portugal outside of the Catholic king's influence in the Iberian Peninsula.
And this is it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I will be uploading a video every week, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye.